Hey guys, Mike here at MS Tutorials and welcome back. Well, today we're going to do a subscriber request, one that I announced on my Facebook page. We are going to model a diamond today, all right? Now this is going to be a two-part video inside of one video. In the first part, we're going to model the diamond. And then in the second part, for those of you who have it, we are going to PBR texture it and render it out. And we're going to do that in Keyshot, okay? So if you don't have Keyshot, I'll give a few tips after the modeling, how you can texture it in Maya, but we are going to do that in Keyshot as mentioned. All right, so let's get started with our diamond. We are going to start with a polygon cone, and we're just going to hit E to rotate it and hold down J to snap it in steps of 15 degrees until it's straight up. All right, then we're going to hit Control A for attribute editor, and in our polygon 1 tab, we're going to make sure that we have 16 subdivisions, and we can kind of tweak the radius a bit. Okay, so let's see what we got. We'll do 1.2. Okay, that's probably good. All right, and then caps, we're going to do 3. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and go to edge, and I'm going to double click on these edge rows on my top there, hit W, pull that up, and don't worry too much about that little vertex in the middle. And we're kind of going to eyeball the rough shape of the whole thing. We're going to lower this one down a little bit for the reason that we are now going to just take that one and bring that up. And these two lines together should form pretty much the shape of the diamond that we want. Okay, so you kind of need to eyeball that. We'll do this one slightly higher to hold that exact flow there. So that looks right. And then we're going to pull up that little vertex in the middle there. Right click vertex, select it. We're going to hold down W to move it, obviously. And then we're going to hold down V and we're just going to snap it upwards. All right. So let's say this is our general shape. Just have one more look. I think the bottom is a bit long, so we're going to select that, and that probably looks a bit better. Okay. So next, we're going to right click our vertex. We're going to drag select these vertices. And then we're going to go to edit mesh and under vertex to chamfer vertices, which creates these openings. Okay. Now I want them to be equally sized pretty much. So we're going to take these. We're going to hit W and we're going to focus on the one in the middle. Don't worry about the whole shape thing changing. To about there. And then we're going to hit R to scale them out to bring back the flow of the lines on the sides there. So this line flow, okay? So let's see what we got. All right. Then what we're going to do is we're going to connect these two vertices together. So I'm going to right click on the vertex, take this one and this one, go up to edit mesh and merge. And then I'm going to go all the way around. So hit G to repeat last command. Just make sure that all is well. Yep. So select these two, G to repeat, G to repeat. And if the G to repeat does not respond, then you have probably by accident selected vertices somewhere in the back. So you selected more than 2, and you just have to go back and fix that. Okay. I'm trying not to do this too fast because it will probably create a problem. And I know that the video series that's out there on Maya demonstrates a similar process, but I believe that was 5 or 6 videos. And I intend to do this in one. All right, looks like we got that. Let's see if it's all clean. Yeah. Now the next step is really important. Um, Objects have the tendency to kind of smooth themselves out. So we're going to right click and go to edge. We're going to select all the edges and we're going to go up to mesh display and harden edge. We want that very crisp and hard look because it's diamond, right? Okay. Right, so next step, we're going to switch to this view right here. We're going to go up to our modeling toolkit and then we're going to go down to multi-cut tool. Let's zoom in a little bit and I want to have a horizontal edge down here somewhere, okay? So let's just left click and start to drag a line and make sure that it's absolutely level. And that has to be done pretty precise. There you go. So that now has added that edge. And that will allow me to go into my multi-cut tool. And I'm going to start in the middle of my top diamond here. So right there, I'm going to click on the one at the bottom and go back up again. Click there, go back up. Click there. Looks like I missed the one down here. Kind of hard to see what's going on, but especially as you get into more lines. So what I can do is just hit enter and then restart. So I don't have all these orange lines kind of creating trouble. Okay. Come on. Yeah. And we're back in business. Looks like we got all that. So we're going to hit enter. One last check to make sure that it's, yeah, all right. And then we're going to go up here. And again, we're going to take the multi-cut tool and we're going to start to connect these. Come on. And we're going to do that in a similar pattern. So we're going to go up, down, up, down. We're going to hit enter. And then we're going to skip one. So we're going to start here. And we're going to start to create that cross pattern. And again, we're going to go around. All right, down there. Now we're going to do the same up here, but this is a bit high. I kind of want to have similar proportions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Q on my keyboard, right click, go to edge, double click on that edge, hit W and kind of bring that down a bit. Skip to this view, hit F to zoom in. Probably something like that. And I'm going to hit R to scale that out until this line here is level again. And then I can right click, go to vertex, take that top vertex, hit W to move it down, and hold down V to snap it. Okay. So it's a little bit more square, if you will. And I can go back to my multi-cut tool and I'm just going to repeat that process. And actually, I'm curious as to how long this process takes. Certainly not hours. Okay, hit enter. And then I'm going to start over here again. To recreate that cross. and hit enter. Okay, that looks much better. All right. So next what we're going to do is we're going to hit Q on our keyboard. We're going to right click at a face. We're going to select these top faces. I'm going to hit 4 on my keyboard to make sure that I have not selected anything else, like that, for example, or that. Okay, just the top, hit 5 again. And we're going to hit delete to get rid of that because we don't need those lines up there. And then we're going to right click at an edge and we're going to double click and select that entire top edge row and go to mesh and fill hole to close that up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open up these diamonds that we have created. So you're probably thinking, okay, what diamonds are you talking about? The ones that we see here. Now, they're not perfectly square. They don't have to be, but if you kind of want to clean that up, we'll just take that. Actually, I don't really want to. I think the effect is nice. Yeah, we'll have this work for us, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to right click and we're going to go to edge. And in the area where you have 2 big open spaces at the top, okay, so here, here, and over there, okay. Just above that, you have a diamond because you have one here as well. So I'm going to right click, go to face, edge, and I'm going to start to select all the edges in that diamond shape. And I'm going to hold down Control and hit delete to avoid n-gons, okay? So, and then we're going to go over and do the same here. Control delete. Control delete. I will try to speed that up a little bit. Almost there. I think that's the last one. It's kind of hard to see at some point if you look at it too much. And Control delete. All right. So once again, we're going to go in and harden the edges, just looking at it to see if it's all clean. It looks like, yeah. Right click edge, select all of it, and we're going to go to harden edge, like that. Just want to make sure that I didn't delete anything that I should, and vice versa. Okay, so this is our completed model of a diamond. Just because I'm curious, let's see how long this took. 13 minutes. Okay, not bad. All right. Now, I'm going to save this out as an OBJ. So I'm going to right click at object mode. I'm going to select it. I'm going to go up to File and Export Selection. And I'm going to save this as a diamond OBJ. OBJ, obviously, yeah. Save it on my desktop. Actually, I have a file there with the same name. So let's do diamond, I don't know, final. Okay. Export selection. And before you pick things up in Keyshot, I promise to tell you a little bit how to do this if you don't have Keyshot. You can either use a blend material and crank up the transparency to make it nice and transparent, and then use a ground plane with a Phong material on it and several area lights. Okay. Now, especially because this is a diamond, you would use a spotlight or an area light with ray trace shadows, and make sure that ray tracing and reflections are set up properly, and then you could do that. But again, this is a modeling tutorial, not a rendering tutorial, except for the next part. So I'll see you guys in Keyshot. See you in a bit. Okay guys, welcome to Keyshot. So I am now going to import my model. So I'm going to go to File, Import, and on my desktop, I call that thing Diamond Final, something like that. Here we go. And we're going to open it. And I get a couple of questions here, whether I want to center the geometry, whether I want to snap it to the ground. In both cases, yes. As far as the geometry meters, fine. I have a couple of options that I can tweak, how the camera is looking and so forth, but I'm going to leave all of this pretty much default. So I'm going to hit import. All right, so there is our basic shape. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Keyshot, your middle scroll wheel will allow you to scroll in and out. Okay, if you hold down the Alt key and left click, you can kind of, swivel that around, if you will. And that's kind of the majority of the controls that you use most. You can see every time I move it, it kind of gets, some grains on it. It's because it's a real-time rendering environment. And there are a couple of things we're going to set up here. Now, first, what we're going to deal with is the material. If you look at the material list, you have a bunch of presets here that you can use. You got leather and glass and all that stuff. Here we have the option to use gemstones. Now, obviously, because we just made a diamond, we need to find the diamond preset. Now, I know this one is the preset. It's gemstone diamond, and we're going to left click on that. We're going to hold that, and we're going to drag it over, and we're going to drop it onto our object. And because of the hardening of the edges that we did in Maya, you can see that we have nice crisp lines here, which plays into the effect of the diamond very well. But we kind of want it to pop, okay? So we're going to choose to change a few settings here. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my backdrop, and I can choose whether I want to have an interior, for example, something like this, which would really not be suitable for diamond, but it's possible. I can do an outdoor scene, right? Or I can do a studio lighting setup. Now that's what I want in this case because, like I said, it's a diamond. This one would probably be a bit dark. Let's see. Not too bad. This one is fairly medium, and I kind of like this one, okay? So let's see how that works. And we can only determine that after we set up our lighting properly. So I got some options here that now I've loaded up. And you can see that for the environment, I can use studio lighting. I can have a light tent here. And there's one specific one that I'm looking for that I know to be very cool. There you go. Under overhead, you have this guy here, the array lighting. And we're going to pull that one in. And you can see that immediately the effect of the diamond changes. Now, because we chose this backdrop, we're not really seeing the lights and so forth, but we see the effect of the lights. And you got a little bit of color going on there, which kind of adds to the realism, which is cool. So we have a backdrop. We got some lighting set up. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go up to lighting. And we're going to go down to caustics. Now we're going to use caustics because we have a diamond setup here. In this particular case, I'm not sure if that's what I want because when I turn it off, it seems that it's slightly more interesting. This kind of grays it out a little. What we can do is take a darker backdrop and then try that again. And it's all about tweaking. And the funny thing is with this backdrop, it's more interesting to turn it on. So we'll do that, okay? So we pretty much have the basic setup for our backdrop, our lighting, we have our caustic setup. So now let's look into our render window. So I'm going to go to render and I'm going to click on my render right here. And now I can choose a couple of options. Now I'm going to call this final diamond.jpg, and I'm going to click on the folder and I'm going to save it on my desktop. There we go. I want to save it out as a JPEG, but I got a lot of options here. I'll just do JPEG. Resolution, I'm going to use a preset, and I'm going to make it nice and big. So the biggest preset we got here. And you can choose that you want all the render passes saved out separately, as well as the render layers. In this case, I'm just going to go for a basic render. Now, one thing that's good to know is in Keyshot, you can actually also do animations where you have, for example, a camera panning in or out and so forth on your object, but I'll cover that in a later video, right? So I'm just going to pause the video, hit render, and see you guys in a sec. Right, guys, well, there you have it. There's our final render, and yeah, that's it. So I advise you guys to try this in Maya, and if you have Keyshot, play with the settings and find one you like. And that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'd love to see you guys next time. Bye.